Hello and welcome to a drive-by coding session. WaiKit is building a UI framework, which I think he's calling My UI Kit. Maybe he should have called it WaiKit. I don't know. I'm gonna replay his code session and see how he's going to do with it. This is going to be a multi-part series. So, it'll be quite a journey, so let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing he does is just create a basic canvas. This is the usual setup for canvas. You create a canvas element, give it a height and width, a border just so that we can see it on the page, and append it to the body. He just changes the title of the page. Okay, right now he's making a to-do list or a plan of what kind of widgets he's going to want to have in this UI framework. Okay, and per usual, in order to draw with the canvas, he's going to need a context. And the first widget he's going to build is going to be just a text label. So the ability to render some text in a user interface. And he starts simple by simply using the fill text method to draw some text on the screen. Tweaks the font a little bit. He decided to get rid of the header just so that there's more screen real estate. Okay, so now he is sketching out what the experience of using this text widget might look like. So maybe you create a new text object like so using this new and he says, oh, I think he realized he's gonna need some sort of a layout engine. He's debating the name. So he tried text widget, text UI, text, or label. He settled on a label. So this is the plan. This label class has not been created yet, but that's his plan to create this label class with which a user of the library can just say new label and pass in the text, and then we'll be able to render it into the screen. So let's see how he does that. Okay, there's the label class. So he's constructing the label class now. The label class will have a render method, which presumably will render it to the screen. The text still shows, well, this code is not compiling yet, so I'll let him finish what he's doing. Let me talk about the parameters to the constructor. There's a text private. The text is a parameter of the constructor, but also a private instance variable of the label. So the label will have access to a text property at any point in time. And presumably the render method will make use of that, like so. So at this point, he dropped this code that used to be here. The rendering code, he dropped it. So yeah, this code here, he dropped it into the render method. And the plan is to have that the text render through this render method now instead of at the top level. This label is rendering based on the label, the render method of the label class now. And I'll just test it a little bit to see. I'll change the class. Hello there. Yeah, so it changes. Presumably I can, the position of the text is currently still hard-coded to 00. So that will need to be made generic, and possibly the font and size of the text should also be a parameter. Let's see where he goes next. Okay, the X and Y coordinates of the label. So he's gonna add the X and Y coordinates of the label to allow the user of the label to modify the location of the label. And that does it pretty well. So I can change the location of this label now. Okay. All right. Then he also adds a width and height. I guess for a text that would probably mean you might want to like have a box within which to render the text, where if the text cannot fit in the box, you might have to do word wrapping or possibly crop the text so to make sure the text fits within the box. Let's see if that's what he's going for here. This is strange. Okay, so it looks like he removed the X and Y coordinates from the label and reverted this change. I'll show you. Yeah, so he already put in this dot X and this dot Y to reference the configured coordinates of X and Y here, but he decided to revert this change. And he also removed these X and Y properties. Why did he do that? Well, he has a new plan. His new plan is to use the canvas translate method to kind of sort of move the coordinate system for the context of rendering this text, so that if you translate, so let's say this were your normal coordinate system. Actually, I think I have a pre-drawn coordinate system here. If you translate this entire coordinate system like so, then your coordinate system will basically end up being this: 0 here, 500 here, 0 here, 500 here. So that when the label is rendering this text at 0, 0, it would be rendering here at pixel 100, or at coordinate 100 and 100 in reality. And this is a nice trick that you can use so that your label code can kind of be simpler and not have to do any arithmetic within it. So, all right, so let's go back to, let's see this plan get carried out. So he also draws this rectangle. I think that's meant to be the box within which to put the text. And it's a yellow box. And he puts the label that render after the box so that the text can be shown on top. Note this context.save method call here. The purpose of this is to restore the drawing context to the state it was before. And by state, the state of the drawing context contains a variety of different information, but it includes whatever you do with translate, as well as the fill style and stroke style, etc. So if you save at a certain point where there was no translation, where the coordinate system just starts from 0, 0 at the top left corner, and then you translate, and then you set the fill, etc. A restore call at some point later will revert all of these changes to the state and go back to whatever the state of the canvas was at the point where you did save. So I guess the idea here is that if you set up this state for the purpose of rendering the label and then restore it, then next time if you need to render something completely different, you don't have to worry about this state being the way it is set up, because this state is only meant for the label here. In particular, the translate, I think, is meant for the label. Now WaiKit wants to add the color parameter and perhaps other text-based parameters to change the rendering of the text. Okay, so let's see if this color, okay, let me see what he did here. So I think you're able to change the color of the text now. Oh, sorry, that was the color of the rectangle. Let me see. Let me try changing the color of the text. Oh, it does work. Awesome. I'm gonna change it to cyan. But other than that, I see that this text is no longer extending beyond this box, and that was done using this clip method trick. So the combination of these two methods here, rect and clip, had the effect of, I'll undo them for you to show its effect. So without these two methods, the text will extend beyond this box. With this rect and clip, what happens is you tell the canvas context to define a rectangle within which the next thing that's drawn will be clipped, meaning the next thing that's drawn, in this case the text, will only have an effect within this box. So this is the thing that allows kind of us to do this bounded drawing thing, where the text will only be displayed within the bounds of this box. So that's a cool trick for implementing this. Although if you want word wrapping and stuff, you would have to do more work to get that working. Okay, so now he's extracting some variables to make this code generic. This X and Y, it represent the top left corner of this box. So here is X and Y, and they happen to be 100, 100 at the moment. And then width and height, the width is 60 and the height is 100 right now. Okay, yep, and you can change around the coordinates to see the box move around. Yep, like so. If you change the width to too little for the text to render, then the text gets automatically cropped off. Same would happen with too little height, I believe. Let's try that. Is there a way to change the size of the font? Not by passing in a parameter, but I suppose we can change the hard-coded value. Yeah, so this text cannot show beyond the bounds of the box. That's the idea. Okay, so that's the end of this first session. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you join us for the next part of this journey where WaiKit built a UI toolkit.